Hello everyone and welcome back to another 3D revolution. In this video we're going to be looking at PrusaSlicer modifiers and how you can use them to edit the print settings of specific parts of your print. Let's have a look. So PrusaSlicer has multiple ways that you can use modifiers to change different settings to a specific area or part of your print. So the first thing you want to do is right click on your print, on the print bed, go down to add modifier and then select a shape to then highlight the area that you want to change. I'm just going to go with box for now. So now you can move this around and I'll show you how to make some changes to this, but we'll start simply to begin with. I'll put this over the back. Any part of this object that it is applied to within that cubed area will have the settings that we apply to the cube applied to that section. So you can see the back half of this boat, I'll move that across there, the back half of that boat is inside the cube, and you can see that the cube is within the benchy drop down here. So if we have multiple models, this cube is only applying to this model here. If we now right click on the generic box, which is our modifier, and go down and we'll select infill, let's go for 50% and aligned rectilinear. Now I've currently got my generic infill set to gyroid and 20%. So if we slice this now, when we look down and we get to where that box is, there we go, you can see that the area within that box has a 50% rectilinear infill, and the rest, the area that hasn't been affected by the box, has 20% gyroid infill. So that's how that works. We'll go through a few different stages of how to change this and what other settings you can apply to it. So the first thing is how to actually move this around. As you can see, I've already just clicked and dragged around, but that's not very accurate or specific. But you can use these three tools that you can also use on your models over on the side here. So you can use this one to move via specific axes. So if we wanted to, for example, let's move this so it only applies to the roof. There we go, and then we'll rotate that slightly so it's only affecting that bit, like that. There we go. And then, but we don't want it to apply to the chimney. So this would be the scale. So you've got the ability to scale the box as well. So we'll make that looks probably a bit too big, but there we go, and we can make it a bit thinner again. That's good enough for now. So that's just applying to the roof. So now we've got the infill on there. We could add another change. We could go layers and perimeters. I want everything within this box to have 6 solid bottom layers, 6 solid top layers, and 4 perimeters, as well as 50% aligned rectilinear infill. So if we slice that now, that's only going to apply to that roof section. It's probably not the best example of areas. There's only a tiny bit of infill on here because the rest is solid. But you can see the 4 perimeters around there. So in addition to the cubes, we've also got the ability to create modifiers. We can go cylinder, we'll pop that there, and then we'll create a sphere as well, and we'll pop that there, and we'll add an infill of 0% to that one, and we'll add let's go 20 perimeters for that. I'm feeling crazy. Here we go. So we've got 3 modifiers on here now. You can already see, because we've got the perimeter section on the back here, it's affected the top layer there. So if we go through here, you can see that we had that zero infill on that front sphere, so there's nothing in that sphere there. And then we come down and that's basically just solid perimeters there. So that is pretty much how modifiers work. You are able to add additional settings to these areas if you were to right click on it. Obviously we can go down and you've got the infill and the layers and perimeter section, but you can go to add settings. You've also got advanced extrusion widths, fuzzy skins, infill, ironing, layers and perimeter speed. You can add all of these different settings to the specific areas that you've covered with your modifying shapes. That is how modifiers work in PrusaSlicer. It's worth noting that in addition to using modifying shapes to change settings of areas of your print, you can right click a model and select down here and apply settings such as infill to the entire model. So if you've got multiple models on your print bed, you can have different settings for each one. So for down here you can see that I've applied the infill to this model. Let's bring in another one as a comparison. I'll space these out. So you can see on the right hand side here, one of them has the infill added and the other one doesn't. So on the infill, if I was to set that to 80%, and you can see on the other one, the generic infill is currently set to 20%. If I slice that, you can see the item with the applied infill is 80% and everything else on the print bed is at the default 20%. This makes it much easier to change settings for an entire model or models without having to select a certain area. In addition to infill, you can also use this with layers and perimeters and support material for each individual model. Well, I hope you guys have found this video useful and you're now better equipped to edit parts of your print with modifiers. If you've got any questions or if you would like to make any suggestions, pop them in the comments below. Otherwise, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks very much.